So the fourth episode of the Mighty Ducks is here. We're almost halfway through. Is Bombay growing on me? Was the humor as witty as it was in the last few weeks' episodes? Let's talk about all of this and more. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you're watching. This show is once again improving, and I can confidently say that this is the best episode so far. Why am I saying this so confidently? Well, it resolves a lot of conflicts between characters in a funny and original way. For a lot of characters, it felt kind of like the ending of the story. I'm sure there's more to come for like all of them, because we're not even halfway through, but I did feel a lot of closure this week. Quick note before we move on, if you're interested in commentary on previous episodes, you can find them listed on the right in the description or on my channel page. And before we continue, did you know I'm currently the only review channel on YouTube that is specifically Disney Plus? You'll always have an idea on what to expect. Click that button and that bell if you want to follow along. Thank you so much. That brings me though to my spoiler warning. I mainly want to talk about specifics this week, so hang on if you've seen the fourth episode of Mighty Ducks, or if you just don't care, that's fine too. I'm starting to see a pattern. Warning you, I'm starting with a bit of a negative here. The show does have a habit of changing their characters up, like with the snap of the fingers, a blink of an eye. Whenever the script requires it, characters just suddenly change their mind and they become totally different characters. And although it makes some sense most of the time, the writers aren't really subtle about it. An example of this is Coop, the goalie guy. He's clustered to his phone, won't talk to anyone, and takes a back seat in every situation. And suddenly he likes putting up a show to get his phone back, but then his phone dies. But he's happy about it, so he can talk to his new friends. Okay, I liked the scenes that got to this point, but just to suddenly turn around a character like that, I don't know. I can relate to the fact that he's now opened up a little and feels better about talking to his friends, but it feels a bit too fake to me. It didn't feel organic, to be honest. Another example of this calculated way of turning characters around is the father of Sophie. So far they have been douchebags, always missing the obvious discomfort of Sophie, but suddenly he's completely convinced he just signed Sophie into the don't bothers. It's really sudden and written in, I think. But that does bring me to all my positives about this episode. Because the way this episode resolved the conflict between Sophie and her parents is quite effective, because it's woven into the story of Alex and her desire to finally step up to her boss. Let me explain. So the way the story got to an ultimatum for the parents of Sophie, so promising to resolve that conflict between them and her daughter, all the while raising the stakes because this meant that more is on the line for Alex, was really impressive. It honestly was the first moment of the show, maybe. So you've got different kinds of ahs. You've got an ah, an ah, an ah, and an ah. Sophie promising her parents she will only join the Don't Bothers if Alex wins was that first ah moment. The humor was once again on point, and maybe I haven't laughed as much since this show released. That coach imitating Gordon's instruction, the swipe myself to sleep, and Coop being all terrified handing his phone over. I mean, they even played dissonant strings under the scene. Alex associating the Olympics as the thing with the circles. Just so much good humor once again in this episode. Really like that this show seems to get funnier along the way and also finds original ways to develop characters, like putting Alex and Gordon on a dinner with her boss, resulting in a mother's hockey match. That once again is a catalyst for Sophie's storyline. I mean, that's good stuff, right? Weaving that all in, weaving everything together, right? I'm repeating myself. Oh, and Gordon felt really Gordon Bombay this episode. His heart is back. That's nice to see. I can be very short on this one. Just nice to see the real Gordon peel out of that cynic skin of his from the first few episodes. One thing that stood out to me a little as a weird choice of filmmaking was that last slingshot Alex did. Because the creators made really clear that the hard hitters of Alex's balls were really fast, You couldn't even see the puck going at it, but that was the point. But Alex's last one was the fastest. Then why not this? Why not have her make the shot? No one sees it really happening. Everyone blinks a few times. You know what happened, man? That was fast. Man. I don't know. Something like that. Instead, it is played in slow motion, because the scene was in slow motion. But here's the thing. This shot shouldn't have been in slow-mo, because it looked exactly like her really bad shots she did before. I know that when it hits the goal, it looks like slow-mo, but for a second, it just all unnecessary confusion, because it looks like she's hitting another bad shot. The scene would have been more effective if you're right there with the supporting characters looking in awe of what they just saw, instead of us still thinking, wait, she just did another bad shot, right? It's a really small nitpick, I know, but it was a slightly confusing thing in a perfectly straightforward scene, so that could have been a bit better. but I'm still liking this show so far. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. If you like, you can tell me down below what you thought of this week's episode. I will watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier very soon. I'm very excited about that. And we're back next week, of course, with a new episode and also Big Shot episode 2. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.